Oh, give me a level, please.
Hello, mic test, mic
yeah,
test.
Wonderful. Radio people know this stuff.
We know, baby. We know.
This is Inside Look. I'm Jeff Lyons with Diane Douglas from the Wiki Morning Show. Diane, thanks for coming over.
Jeff, it's always good. Hey, I made the trip across the hill.
It's quite a journey over here, isn't it?
It is. I almost got blown off the hill. It's a little windy today.
I know it is windy. Did you actually walk? So did you slide down the hill?
No, I drove.
Okay.
I'm headed home after this. So
I've fallen into traffic before, and that's not a good look.
No.
So we didn't do that. I appreciate you coming over. I know this is kind of at the end of your long day, right? Don't you start crack of dawn?
Crack of dawn. Actually, because we're in daylight saving time, the sun is coming up a little bit lighter. It's nice.
I know. You actually see your shadow.
It came up early this morning. It was wonderful.
So what's your day like after you do the morning show? And we're going to get back to the morning show in a minute.
Okay.
And I know you're a big Pilates person, big fitness person.
I am. But I also do a lot of production at the station. So I get off the air at 10 o'clock, and then I head downstairs and kind of talk with the guy that runs production department and see what needs to be done. And you know, the thing is with radio, it's like TV. We're all jack of all trades these days.
So when you say production, you're voicing commercials and copy and things like that?
Yeah, and I've got several endorsements that I do, and I have to voice those and do a couple of other things. But, basically it's not a hard gig.
Yeah, no.
It's really not.
We're trying to make it look as hard as we can. Somebody eventually will get on to us, and then we're going to be out putting the asphalt on the streets with the real workers
putting a roof
of the world.
on, digging a ditch.
Yeah. So how did radio start out for you? Talk about your maybe not your childhood, like high school.
Well, okay, so this is a childhood thing.
Yeah,
okay, and we'll see how well this worked out.
Okay.
Because when I was a kid, a huge baseball fan, my nickname on the Wiki Morning Show is Sporty Spice.
I know that.
Because I know a lot more about sports than Dennis. So I wanted to be the first woman Major League Baseball player. And we said, well, that worked out.
Yeah.
But I'm still
What
a huge
position?
I was a third baseman.
Third baseman.
The hot corner.
Why third base? I think you want to be the pitcher.
No. I did pitch. But I could actually throw from third base to first base and get the ball there.
Okay.
This is like in the late 70s, early 80s. So it's softball is a completely different game. I have so much respect for those women athletes.
Yeah. I still don't see how they do it.
I don't know how they do that.
Wing it under.
No.
For our listeners, I'm imitating a woman softball pitcher winging that ball in.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So that didn't work out. And I worked in retail for a long time, and we had Benetton stores in the 80s. So the right sweaters and all of that kind of stuff. And I actually was a client we did a remote. We were giving away Paula Abdul concert tickets, of all things.
So we're 90s, 80s here.
Fully this is in Madison, Wisconsin, and I had Johnny Danger, who was the night guy on the top 40 station, came and did a remote, and I was the client. And so he said to me, he goes, have you thought about doing radio? He said, because most people, when I interview them, I put a microphone, and they put a microphone in someone's face, and you immediately go, ooh.
Yeah, they squelch.
Yeah. So he's like, no, you got a great sense of humor. You got a good voice. Have you thought about it? I was like, no. So then I went to school for it. I went to broadcasting school and started weekend overnights at the Oldies station in Madison. Now, there's a throwback, because having a weekend overnight person.
Right, a person.
Right. Yeah. And then it just sort of blossomed from there. I fell into radio. I really did.
What was Oldies then? 60s?
60s, yeah. It was 60s, maybe early 70s, some late 50s. But yeah, now it's, the 80s are considered oldies, which is terrible.
I know. It hurts my heart.
I know.
Too. They're great songs. They'll never go away. I was listening to 80s today on the way to Madisonville. I just can't. And I'm like, there's other music out there. Maybe I should sample. And I just never get around to it.
Right.
So you start up in Madison or in Wisconsin somewhere,
Madison,
overnights,
Wisconsin.
Oldies. And then what's the next step for you?
I did the Saturday night Oldies party, and that was a 7 to midnight Saturday, and it was a lot of fun. Oldies is a great format.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of fun. And being born in the 60s, I was very young for that format in the early 90s. So the thing is, you got to know your P's and Q's with those people, because that was their high school music.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, our high school music, we know that. So, like, I got called out a couple of times by not knowing when Benny King left the Drifters. Okay, I'm just saying.
You got to watch out. Did you get like a note, on your windshield?
No, I got phone calls. I got
really?
phone calls.
Yeah, how is that working phones too? I've seen you guys do it on the Wiki Morning Show, but back then, you're cutting tape, I guess, right, and the whole thing. So, and you get every variety of crazy on the phone, right?
Absolutely. I used to get letters from it, and my mom asked me, why aren't you using your real last name? And I said, well, okay.
Well, I can think of 1,000 reasons. Yes.
So then when I was getting letters from a dude in prison to my radio,
right,
she was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
So, but it was nice you had listeners in prison, because I think that's a demographic that
it's
an
overlooked demographic. What can I say?
Yeah. So you're up there, and then how did you get to Evansville?
I was going to be in Evansville for 2 years, and it's hilarious because it was never on my radar. I was between radio jobs. I worked for an ad agency for a while because I went through the Clear Channel culling in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Right, where the stations all merged into these big companies that own hundreds of stations.
So I worked out of radio, and I really missed it. And so I knew I was going to have to leave. I was in Milwaukee at the time, and I knew I was going to have to leave Milwaukee because it's a lot like Evansville, just a bigger city. You had a lot of well-established radio people that had been there for a long, long time.
Sure.
So I get a phone call. I sent out my tapes and my resumes.
Oh, yeah.
So I get a phone call from Dr. Dave, who is the program director. It was the new 96 STO. Okay. So he calls and he goes, hey, we really like you and would really like to talk to you. And I said, okay. So he goes, we'll send you a plane ticket and you can pick it up at the airport. And at the time I'm thinking, okay, they want to fly me there? All right. I thought it was Evanston, outside of Chicago.
Illinois.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
so
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, from Milwaukee
WLS,
to...
right.
Yeah. So I pull out the road atlas.
Surprise.
I know. I pull out the road atlas and I like, you know how when you look at the road atlas, you got the letter and the number.
Right.
And I go... down to the Southwest Indiana. I go, oh my gosh, it's in Kentucky.
Yeah, almost. You can see it from here, right?
So that was how I came to Evansville. I interviewed, and like I said, I was going to be here for 2 years, and 25 years later, I'm still here.
So what year about was it that you were on STO?
I was on STO from 2000 to 2005.
Okay, so this was past the Angela Allen era.
Oh, yeah.
And she was a thing when I was in college and high school. I mean, just all over the radio and the Saturday show and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So so you come in, and of course, that's top 40.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So you're playing the music.
I went from oldies to top 40. That was quite the 90 degrees.
Yeah, and then you got in, of course, to the South Central, I suppose, at that time. They owned STO and Wiki and a couple other stations.
And then I was was doing well at STO. I was with Booker at the time, so it was Booker and Diane.
I remember.
And our general manager asked me, he said, what would you think about going to Wiki? And I was like, are you kidding me? Because we never could beat Wiki.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I can't beat them, I'm going to join them.
Yeah, they're like the 800-pound gorilla in this market.
They are. So he asked me if I was willing to do that. And at the time, I was getting a little old for top 40 for those hijinks. So
name some hijinks.
Okay, this is a hijink.
I know you've been involved in a few.
We've been involved in a few. But when Britney Spears ran off to Las Vegas and she eloped for 15 hours, Booker at the time asked me, he goes, well, I think this would be a great idea. Why don't you do that and go off and get married for 15 hours. And I said, are you insane? I said, I cannot really tell my mom and dad, who were still in Madison at the time. They hadn't moved to Evansville. I said, can you imagine me trying to explain that to my mom and dad? This is after we did the dating, the Bachelorette, where I was in a hot tub at Spa City with 5 other guys. So I was like, okay, I draw the line at going to Vegas to get married.
Oh, back up. Well, you're at Spa City. I'm sure they bought the remote,
right?
Did. Yes, there's always
They
money
did.
involved. And so you're in a hot tub with 5 guys. And what's the premise here?
It was the Bachelorette. It was like, I think it might have been after the 2nd season of the Bachelorette. So Booker has this great idea.
Were you supposed to date one of these guys?
Yes, we went around in a limo, and after every stop, and it was all sponsored, every stop I'd have to eliminate somebody.
Right.
So we finally ended up in a hot tub at Spa City. I was like, okay, this is where my life has ended. Right.
How did you eliminate the guys?
Oh,
like on
it
what
was easy.
basis?
Trust me, it was easy. Yeah.
Well, like what would be a strike?
If they couldn't put a coherent sentence together, it was pretty bad.
Yeah. And where'd the guys come from? Did they respond to a contest
Yes,
on the air?
they did, and they Booker picked him out, so I think he picked out all the weirdos for me.
He was evil, wasn't Booker?
I love him, but he was evil.
He had a streak. So that's the kind of stuff that I recall. In the 80s was always weird. Things going on. Did you ever do a thing where you had to touch a car for 5 weeks or whatever?
Yeah, it wasn't us, it was our listeners, and it was an early one where we were giving away a T-bird, and it was Catch the Bird, I think was all, in order to win the T-bird, we're at Eastland Mall.
Of course.
And they all had to have their hands on the T-bird, and they couldn't take their hands off, and you were on there for, if you do it for 24 hours, I'm like, all of this for a car that you're going to have to pay taxes on.
Somebody from the station had to be there to talk about it and officiate and everything. And Eastland Mall and cars, not a good combo for me. We had a promotion here at the station, and you won the use of a car for a year. And anyway, I did a thing on TV, I think it was during Wheel of Fortune, and the payoff was you got a key, and there were 14 key finalists, and then somebody's key opened the door, right? So just before we went on the air live, the promo guy came to me and said, okay, we got the key out there. You're going to be good. So we go down the line. I've got like 3 minutes to do this. So 14 keys go in, and none of them work. And so they're like, so they bring me over. Well, it's supposed to be number 4. Get number 4 back over there. So I'm like, Diane, try your key again. Hey, it's rigged. And everybody starts. There's a little turmoil. And we finally got the car, sent on its way. But you've probably had a few other miscues on these promotional things, right? Anything as bad as the WKRP turkeys? Remember?
No, but we did have the FBI come in from Indianapolis because we did a bit. It was Theater of the Mind. It's radio.
Sure.
Where we had an actual dollar bill. And we said, this feels just like a dollar bill. And Sarah Pepper was still working with us before she came over here.
Yes.
And so we sent Sarah to the vending machine to put this blank piece of paper into the vending machine and see if it would work. And she goes, oh, my God, it works. So she goes, what do I do?
Did you say it on the air?
Yes, this is live. So I said, hey, I'd like a Diet Coke. So she buys us a Diet Coke, and people are freaking out. And somebody called, and so the FBI, the Secret Service comes down from Indianapolis, and they make us open our vending machine to take out all the money and say, no, it was a real dollar bill. It was just Theater of the Mind. And it was crazy stuff like that.
So were you able to explain it away, or did you have to do some hard time at Leavenworth?
No community service, no hard time.
Okay. So speaking of community service, as by way of transition, so when you went over to Wiki, the big time, at South Central and here in our market, now you're more community service, and it's things like gathering like a ton of turkeys or a ton of toys, or you're doing the Riley. Of course, they did telethons on SDO and on the other stations, but you're doing these good works, and a little more buttoned down. No hot tubs, no guys, none of that.
Oh God, I hope not.
So how was that change for you?
Wiki's Wiki's a huge. It's an interesting animal in the radio business because it's. We have a full-time news department. We have traffic. We have weather. People rely on us.
It's a full-service station.
It is.
And that used to be, it's kind of like a full-service gas station. No one would know what that is. But Wiki was always described as a full-service station. And it truly, truly is. I mean, you would be hard-pressed to find a news department in almost any radio station today.
Right. And I think that's why our partnership with you guys works so well, because you guys are the voice of, or the TV station of the tri-state. So like if we have severe weather, we go with you guys, and I think it's one of those things that works very well because people rely on us. I know during the storms just a couple weeks ago, I was in my bathroom with my Wiki app on listening to you guys.
But with no Bachelor contestants in there, right? Just you and the
just
cat.
Me and my cat.
Right. So did that feel different for you then, rather than doing the zany, doing the sort of, I'm going to say service work, which it is. It is, absolutely. We're paid to do this, but it's for the community. You're giving back in a sense. What was that feeling like then? Do you feel like a grown-up now? It's
Oh,
like, well, now I
definitely.
can't TP houses anymore, or do
No.
any of that.
Well, the thing is that I was starting to get a little old. Not old like I'm like an old woman, but just a little. It wasn't as fun for me. It was just kind of stupid.
Uh-huh.
And I had a great time with it. Don't get me wrong, but I think being able to give back to the community, this is without a doubt Evansville and this entire tri-state community. I think is one of the most generous places I've ever lived. Every time we ask, we get results, and it's our listeners. It's not us. It's like every year when we ask at the Radiothon, they come through for us, and they come through. I mean, and we've done zany things, Jeff. Come on.
Oh, I know you.
I
have.
mean,
Yeah.
no. I'm talking about years of the really big show with you.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't on the air. That was, 1,500 people at the ONB Plaza, and lots of fun, And of course, the beneficiary was Arc of Evansville, which is a great organization, and I'm still connected with them. But you guys always, you and Dennis, and then later Aaron Santini and prior Mark Elliott and Sarah Pepper, and I think Booker was in a couple of them. So it was just fun to do something that was kind of out of our normal comfort zone, and do a variety show and put on weird costumes and have fun and do all that.
We made a fool of ourselves for 15 years. It was great.
You're a ham at heart,
I
right?
am. One of my favorites was playing Scarlett O'Hara to Rick Kirsting's Rhett Butler.
Yeah, I know. The people still talk about that, and I think the costume is some museum. It might be in your closet, right? In your safe space.
No. I still have my Conehead costume.
Yes, and that was good. We did a Saturday Night Live theme to the really big show, and I had forgotten you were a Conehead. What was the worst thing we made you do?
I was a hee-haw honey. That was pretty bad, and that was my very first one. And it, the really big show is always in February. February in Evansville is not exactly known for being. It's not like I was out on the pump out getting a tan.
Right.
So I actually went and got a spray tan that first year because I was like, nobody wants to see me in Daisy Dukes with that white skin.
Well, I'm wearing makeup now, and we're on radio, So I mean, it's vanity. It's all vanity.
But
did you when you and Dennis started working together? Did you have to audition for that to see, I wonder what the chemistry's going to be like, or did they just throw you in?
No, it was weird. Dennis and I, it's so funny because we were working. He started at Wiki before I moved over there with him. So he'd been there for probably about 6 months before we got together. And we had always talked. And we're both huge Elvis fans, so we had that in common. We both loved James Bond, so we had that in common. So we'd talk off the air, and we just had this great rapport. And Tim Helsing, our general manager, he was the one who suggested, all right, he goes, you two go out to dinner and see if this will work. So we went to the Alley Savant, which was not it's off Main Street. And I live on Main Street now, so I'm right around the corner from where the Alley Savant used to be. And we had a few bourbons.
Right.
And we were like, let's do this. I think we can do it. And Dennis is very much like my morning show partner in Milwaukee. He's just a younger version of Mike Ellie, God rest him, because he passed away during COVID. But he was one of those ones that just was a broadcast professional to the nth degree, and that's Dennis. I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame now. So it's just been a great 21 years to be his partner, and we're great friends. I mean, we really are. So,
and it comes through on the air, and I've watched you two work, and it's funny because you don't ever the work part, not the on-air stuff, but like running the board and running the spot. Nobody says a word, and it's just boom, 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 going out. The spots are going on. Then you dip in a little bit. I think the frustrating thing for me with radio would be it's sort of it's additive. Like, in other words, to really get to know Diane Douglas, you got to listen a long time because you got these just little snippets that drop in. Social media has kind of filled in the gaps a little bit, but but over time, especially 21 years in a market, people know you and you're part of their family, and they. So my other question is, in radio, it's always kind of mysterious. Like, you kind of picture what somebody looks like, when you hear them on the radio. But you can pretty much go out in the public and, you can...
For the most part.
Yeah. I mean, people would hear your voice. And, of course, you've been around long enough.
Right.
You've been on billboards and things. People know what you look like. But Did you like that part of radio, that you could kind of be incognito all the time when you're in public?
Yeah, that is kind of nice. It's funny because once I started teaching Pilates, that's the other thing, is that that's my side hustle.
Right,
I'm a Pilates instructor. And this is a true story. And I was teaching footwork. So people are on the equipment, and one lady has her eyes closed, and she's just, there. And all of a sudden she sits up and she goes, "Are you Diane Douglas?" And I said, "Yes." She goes, "I had no clue until I just had my eyes closed and I was just listening to you." So she, had the voice.
Right.
And then she goes, "Oh, so that's what you look like." So now I can put a face to the voice. And I get it all the time. I get it all the time. As soon as I start talking, people are like, I listen to you every morning.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's a great compliment, though.
It is,
isn't it? Yeah, I remember I interned at Wiki in 1985 with Randy Wheeler, six-person news staff.
Oh wow!
And
Randy, great guy,
and me. And my first gig was I got to voice the weather line.
Oh,
they had this little recording thing, and you'd go on every hour and update the temperature and read the forecast. And my grandmother then would call it, each hour, to see and listen to. That's my grandson on there, And but the funny thing was seeing the people I'd heard on the radio as a kid, and none of them looked like what I thought they looked like.
No, and sometimes the jocks had the best voices. You'd see them and you go, "Oh my gosh, no wonder he's in radio."
Yeah. And radio's just populated with interesting, kind
great
of eccentric people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that must be something that keeps you coming back, over and over again, in addition to, public service and doing your bit. So you've been 21 years on Wiki, and now you're into this Pilates thing. So you're branching. You're always like the Diane Douglas franchise continues to grow, right?
Well, sort of. I've just always been into fitness. I used to run a lot, but those days are long gone. I did the Evansville half marathon a couple of times.
Yeah.
But no, running just doesn't feel good in my body anymore. And that's really kind of why I gravitated to Pilates. I was actually they asked me to do an endorsement for them. Mm-hmm. And I was like the biggest cynic about Pilates, because I'm like, what? Really? And no, it's been a great 6 years.
Yeah, and you've moved. Are there ranks? Kind of like black belt, yellow belt,
no,
red belt,
you just you have to go through a certification.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Mm-hmm. You're not just.
They don't just throw you out there and say, "Hey, here you go, teach a class." No, it's a 500-hour program.
You mentioned earlier you're a downtown dweller, yet for quite some time now. What's that been like for you? You like being in the energy of the city, or I know you're remodeling a bathroom now, so maybe this is the wrong time to ask.
No, it'll be good. The demo starts next week.
Okay.
But I bought a condo actually on Main Street. I was renting an apartment down on Riverside, which was great, for 5 years, Riverview, and I got to look at the pump out every year, which was great fun.
Check out all the action.
Yeah. But no, I'm at the Renaissance on Main, and so I can walk to the Victory, I can walk to the Ford Center. It's just, and downtown, just the difference from when I first got to Evansville, because Main Street was not even, it was a pedestrian mall, and it was dead.
Yeah, and it was tumbleweeds, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, a few pigeons.
Yeah, and so just to see the Renaissance for downtown, I think is just, it really has been unbelievable.
It is vibrant. I was walking to look at the river, when it was up over the weekend, and just looked around and thought, my gosh, in my life, because I grew up here. And there was a time it was pretty bleak down there.
Mm-hmm.
There were just vacant lots and not a lot happening. And to see that, and especially, folks living downtown.
Mm-hmm.
It was just nobody would live, over the Evansville store or whatever. I think yours was either Penny's or the Evansville store.
I think it was Penny's, because the elevator is like the old elevator, and it's huge, and it's nice, because my old building, that was an old elevator, had the gate that closed, and half the time it was working, half the time it wouldn't. So.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So. Well, it's great. Everything has, played out, and that you decided Evansville was your forever radio spot on the dial and all of that. And
well, so much so that a lot of my family moved here. My mom and dad, who this past year passed away, so that's been.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, that's really tough when you become the only kid. You know,
but my sister moved here from California. She retired as a teacher and decided that Evansville was, a great place to be. And my niece, her daughter, lives in Evansville and is looking at buying property here.
There you go. Mm-hmm. So did your sister move into the attic apartment?
No,
she didn't. Like a Rhoda Mary Tyler Moore situation?
No, that was my first apartment. I had a Mary Tyler Moore apartment, but no, she lives off of Kratzville.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Nice. So you got the whole family here, and of course you're part of everybody's family here. I really appreciate you coming over here, Diane. Thanks so much for being with us. Diane Douglas from the Wiki Morning Show. If you'd like to hear more of our podcast, you can listen wherever you get your podcast, or you can watch on the 14 News YouTube channel. This has been Inside Look. I'm Jeff Lyons. Thanks for joining.